Hello everybody, it's Nym and welcome back to my channel. Today's Friday, Friday is Planet Zoo. As you can probably hear by the sound of my voice, I am extremely excited for this video. And that's kind of weird because maybe you looked at the cinematics and you're like, well, yeah, it looks pretty normal build. I am over the moon by this build. I am so incredibly proud of myself for building something like this. And I know that sounds really crazy, but like 2 weeks ago we had the terraforming, last week we had the first habitat at the entrance, which you can see a short preview of like recap of that on the left side of the screen because we are actually borrowing plants from that. And today we are building our first major habitat. Like obviously last week we built the tortoises, but that was like 300 square feet, it's quite small. So the next thing I had to tackle, right, was that gigantic body of water right in front of the entrance. I had no clue what to place there. I was like, well, kind of want to build some monkeys actually, but it's nowhere near located. And I didn't want to go overall, like all places of the zoo and have to figure out a way to connect them. So I just was like, you know what, Nym, you are going to figure out what animal you are going to place there and you are going to build that habitat. But as you can see right now, I still had no clue, so I ended up doing the foliage first. And I have to say, it looks so natural. So we are going for this kind of rainforesty style, and I absolutely love the way that it turned out. Like right now, it's coming together, and that's what I found really difficult with Planet Zoo, is when you are actually building it, it doesn't look that good, but when you have all the components combined in the end, it looks better and better and better. That's like the same issue that I had with the map forming. You just start with building a mountain and it looks crap. Like, not gonna lie, it looks awful. And then you add in some water and you're like, okay, kind of looks a little bit better. And then you add in rocks and you're like, oh no, this is going to be awful. It's going to completely the wrong way. And then you add plants and you're like, yeah, this is what I'm going for. This is complete loud. It's all I ever wanted. So that's what I had with this as well. I branded off with what we had last time, so we're using quite the same foliage, and then I was like, well, I'm not gonna do all plants all the time because that's gonna be very repetitive and boring. So I wanted to work with some funny rock textures as well. So here we are making this little rock scenery, and then we're actually going to cover and surround it with plants, so it looks natural. Like personally, I have never been to a rainforest. I mean, I don't live anywhere near that. I live in the Netherlands. You guys probably guessed that. If you didn't, well, there you know, I live in the Netherlands. Nowhere near tropical, like the occasional heat wave, and anything above 23 degrees, we're moaning and complaining that it's too hot to function. So yeah, that's like my country. So like nature like this, it is not very common for me, but I love it. I love working with it, I love working with bamboo, all these plants. It makes it look so tropical, honestly. And then with the palm trees there, just wow. So I wanted like this path, I wanted to be like, have my guests to be like fully immersed. I always go for when they say, oh wow, this scenery is so amazing. I always want that. So right now I still wasn't sure what animal to place there, so we're just creating some pathways. I was like, I want to do something with the water. I didn't want to put like normal hippos in there because they can only have 2 hippos in there. So I scrolled further and I actually came across the Pygmy Hippo. And that name sounds incredibly cute. I love the name, so I was like, well, you know, I love this name, so obviously I'm going to pick this animal. So we are building a habitat for our Pygmy Hippo. But before we do any of that, we are going to completely finish the outside of the habitat. Otherwise, I just don't want to do it, to be honest. I'm quite weird like that, I want to say, even though I don't think it's really weird. Whenever I finish a habitat, I'm like, oh, cool, I finished. And then I still need to do all the surrounding nature, and I just can't be bothered before it because I put all my focus in the habitats. So here I wanted to make an awesome nature side. We are also going to do this amazing rock scenery, if I think that's what you call it. And like when we've completed all of that, then we are actually going to do the habitat, because then I know what plants are surrounding the habitat and I know what I want to use in the habitat. So that's my thought on this. Okay, just bear with me for that, guys, okay? So right now we are fixing the pathway all the way up to our habitat. So for this habitat we are going to have obviously a coverage where the guest can stand, but I will go into detail like that later. Right now we are making this rock scenery, and I really use the tropical like filter on this. So we use the tropical biome. We get really mossy rocks, which I absolutely love. I think the tropical biome is the one biome where you have like 3 different kinds of rocks, because obviously you have the grey ones, then you have the partly mossy ones, and then you have the fully mossy ones. And I absolutely love the way that I can just combine that and make it look natural. Also, copy paste favorite in Planet Zoo. I mean, check it out. I just copy it. There you go. Rotate it. It looks completely different. Same with that. And then we just copy and paste it over to the other side of the water to make it look even more natural. Obviously, we are gonna have like these muddy waterfalls. I don't want clear waterfalls in this zoo, and that sounds maybe a little bit weird, but when you go into real life nature, you will see that waterfalls are often really muddy because there is a lot of dirt in the water. There's a lot of vegetation, like perhaps even some dead animals or some poo. Who knows? It's all in there. One of the reasons I don't like bathing or like going into wild water, as a matter of fact, or swimming pools. I don't like it because there's so many stuff in the water, and I can't physically handle that. So I love nature. I love looking at water. I don't like being in the water. Just don't like it. And then obviously we are going with this folk system, and I wanted that to be. I feel like it's kind of natural. If there's a waterfall, you always see like the little drops of water in the end, and they create kind of a fog. So I wanted that idea, and also these could maybe as well be hot springs. Who knows? It could happen. It's all possible. Also, I find this tree with those red flowers, I believe they're in there. Love it. Absolutely love it. It makes the water and the rock scenery look so much more... Here I go again with my word natural, but it looks more like... Yeah, well, natural is actually the word that I'm looking for. It looks more natural, like you would actually see this in real life. There was a TV show, Real Girls in the Jungle, and you'd have exactly this rock scenery. Like, it just came to mind, but that's what it reminds me of. Very fun program, by the way. These very fancy, posh girls, and they go live in the jungle. It's hilarious because they're awful at it. Anyways, let's go back to the video, because otherwise I'm going way off topic. What I usually do anyways, but today let's try to stay a little bit on topic, even though I think we all know that is quite impossible. Just deal with it. Like, you usually get a podcast of like 20 to 30 minutes about my life. That's it. So for this zoo, I want to work with as less game barriers as I can. So I want to make them myself, I want to create it myself. Null barriers, I love null barriers. So right now, because we don't want our Pygmy Hippo to escape, because, you know, that is quite dangerous. Hippos are quite dangerous animals, so you don't want them to escape and coming after you, because they can run fast, man, really fast. So we are making our own fence. So we are having these, I believe they were the Chinese or Asian woods. We just painted them like a wood color, because obviously they were red. And then we are going to place them all around the habitat. Now, obviously I didn't incorporate all of that in the video, because that will be hella boring to watch. Just laying it out there, no one would watch that. At least I wouldn't watch that, let me say it like that. So now we placed the barrier almost all around the entire habitat. And we are actually going to start with deciding where our building is gonna come. So this will be a building for the Pygmy Hippos itself and for the visitors. So there's going to be partly coverage for the animals, because obviously the animals need coverage. And then next to that will be a visitors platform where the visitors can, or the guests can actually look into the habitat. So right now we're working on the start of that. It is going to change slightly, because I was looking and I was like, yeah, this is not what I want. I wanted it to be like a little bit coming over the actual habitat, so the guests can actually like feel that they're in the habitat. I wanted that experience, because I always quite like it when I go to a zoo where I can actually be like, ooh, I'm almost in the habitat with this animal. This is so cool. Even though, like, obviously you never want to be in a habitat with an animal except when they're friendly, like peacocks or something, or peafowls. Fowls, I believe they're called. I call them peacocks. But like being in the habitat with a pygmy hippo or a lion, no thank you, that is not quite safe. Really not safe. So, oh yeah, you will also see me I'm clicking on a lot of buttons always when I'm working with my keyboard, so sometimes I accidentally press escape and like the menu shows up and stuff like that. And there I was trying to figure out why my camera wasn't working, because it was actually, it worked slower than it used to, so there's gonna be a little cut in a second, and then we actually, I restarted the game. And it worked. I don't know what happened, but suddenly my controls were just really slow and the camera moved really weird. Like it was inverted, but the inverted option wasn't on, so strange phenomenals. Let's just leave it at that. Obviously, I did make sure that our pygmy hippos couldn't escape, because, you know, that's quite important. Really important. And here we are fixing the actual platforms. Now, what I think is funny, I like using the natural path systems, and then we use platforms that are a little bit floaty. It changes to like this weird sand color, and I hate it so much, so we're gonna use the wood, because I actually like the wood. I think it looks quite nice. And now I'm looking for some of those mud patches. I don't really know what they're called, but I wanted to use them to... I didn't want to work with the terrain because it was so difficult with the paths. It never really fully like goes to the edge of that. It never fully connects. So we are just using the path, well, not the path system, we're using this mud, and we are going to pretend those are actually planters. And we are obviously going to put a lot of plants in there. We are going to stick with our tropical theme. Also, I have the feeling that I'm talking really fast, so I'm gonna try to do my best to talk slower, but I'm really excited about this, so it's really hard for me to like talk at a normal pace. Let's just leave it at that. I used to, as a kid, I used to talk like 5 times faster than I do now, and it was insane. Like, everyone was also like, yeah, you can give really good presentations, but you talk so fast, you give so many information at once. And then I did the teacher I studied to become a teacher, and like every single report card that I got from my mentors about the internships, they were like, yeah, you are really good at teaching, you do all this really good, you're really good with kids, but you talk so fast. Talk slower. I talk slow now, even though sometimes my students still ask me like, what did you say? You talk really fast. Could you be like, I'm sorry. But then again, like they mumble, so I'm like, excuse me, you're mumbling. Could you speak up? And they're like, yeah, probably deserve that then. So, you know, I don't really know what the point of was that I was going to make, but there you go. Fun facts about my life. Oh right, the vegetation, I think I was going to talk about that. So again, we are using the rocks to make it look more natural, and I actually created this little, I don't want to call it pavement, but you know, edge of rock. And I absolutely love the way that it turns out. I'm really in love with it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to use only tropical plants here, because this is clearly done by humans, so we are going to use some of those other plants. I'm not quite sure what biome they are. I think they're temperate, because I remember them putting in my temperate zoo and temperate habitats, but I'm not quite sure, so whatever. As you can see, we also already put a null barrier in, and the animals can't actually escape, which I'm really happy about, because that was the thing I feared mostly, like finishing the entire habitat and then figuring out there's a giant hole somewhere, which actually there is. Obviously this habitat is like with a waterfall. Turns out that I didn't really do the waterfall correctly. There's this giant space in the rock beneath the waterfall, which is, you know, quite funny, because people always be like, ooh, there might be some secret space in the waterfall. And there actually is in this waterfall. But naturally the pygmy hippos just went there, and I got alert like, your animal escaped, and I was like, wait, it's nowhere where I can see it, where is it? And it was behind the waterfall. Also, another thing I didn't know about pygmy hippos. Apparently, these hippos can be underwater for a very long time. And well, most of their time is spent in the water, underwater, so the guest can't actually see them. Which is not really nice, because all my guests are now complaining, like, you can't even see if there's a pygmy hippo in here. The view from the pygmy hippo was pretty bad, and I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, okay? I can't help it. I did my best. Here we are roofing. I really wish there was something like an auto roof, because roofing, I mean, I'm quite good at it in The Sims. I need to learn it in Planet Zoo because I don't understand some of the pieces. I wish I could just adjust it slightly manually, and unfortunately you can't, so you know, that sucks, but it is what it is, and it doesn't get any better, unfortunately. So we are going to work with different levels on this this roof, so we are actually making it a little bit higher still, and that one as well, just a little bit higher, just to make it look, here I come again with my word, but more natural. I feel like that is like the phrase where you can summarize this zoo on, more natural. I wanted it to look like it actually belongs there. I also wanted it to look like this old zoo where like some modern renovations are just entering. And I think I did that quite good, actually. I mean, if I say so myself, I don't know what you all guys all think of that, but if you have any thoughts of ideas, like, of course, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always really eager to find out what you guys think of the builds, and if you see any points of improving or things you didn't agree with. I'm always really curious about that. And that's just something like personal, but I really love feedback. Always have, always will do. I just love it. I feel like feedback, obviously it's up to me what I do with it, but I always like hearing what other people think of something and also the reasons why you think that. So personally, I think I nailed this pretty good with this habitat, especially with the actual view that you actually are going to have. I think it's quite good. And we're working with glass right now, but we are going to delete that and actually gonna use wood all over the place, because I felt like it was more natural. I was wondering if I should maybe like build a structure and then go over it with wooden shell like planks and make it completely handmade, but I was like, well, that is going to be a big rip on like any person that wants to download this, because it's just going to be awful. Like the frame rate, can you imagine if you make everything from scratch? Like this entire giant, I don't know, like viewing points made of wooden planks. No, thank you. I also like, if you watched the previous video of the entrance, if you haven't, go watch it after this video. And if you have, you will see a reoccurring theme with all the vines. I want to use that more. I actually think like they look pretty darn good in this biome, and I actually am really happy with them. They look actually really good. So we are going to use them on this building as well. You can also see me struggling with actually trying to select it, because it's all layered and I couldn't get it correctly, and it was so darn annoying. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a funny story. I was working on this habitat and I thought I was done, like with the viewing points, and then I realized I totally didn't actually build a shelter for the actual animals, so I had to go back in and do that. So that's why in a minute there's going to be a weird cut where half of the habitat's actually done and the rest isn't yet, or like the shelter, because I totally forgot to press record and I was building and I was like, I think I might be forgetting something. So there we are, like we are now fixing the roof, we built some more of it, some more shelter. And I actually think this looks really natural, and in real life I probably wouldn't trust a fully wooden barrier with hippos. But in game, it works. And that's what's important. I was like, I don't know if any of you guys perhaps know that, but obviously I am not using any like barriers. I still, however, get the message that the mechanic isn't linked to the habitat, but if I don't have barriers, nothing can break, so why on earth would I want a mechanic? Like, it's just gonna cost me money. Or actually not, because I play in sandbox, but you know, in theory it would just cost me money because they are not going to destroy the handmade barriers that I made. So quite confused about that, but you know what, it is what it is. Also, I mentioned it in the last video, if you have any ideas for animals that you would like to see in this zoo, do let me know in the comments down below. I will see if I can incorporate it in the zoo, because I just feel like I can build here and I can decide everything, but it's much more fun if you guys can decide with me. Obviously, I can't promise that I'll do it, but I will promise that I'll have a look at it and see if it's actually possible. I feel like that's a reasonable thing to say. So there you go, that was the actual viewing point and shelter. Now we are decorating the outside a bit just to get that really nice vibe there. You know, with the same trees that we use all over the place. And then we are actually heading into the barrier habitat. So with this habitat, I wanted it to look natural, so we're going to use a lot of dirt, a lot of sand, some grass, and we have turned off animal welfare because I just don't want to do whatever I want with this zoo. Obviously, I'm not going to fully be like mean to my animals because I want them to be good, but if I want like a lot of plants in my habitat and they don't like it, well, tough luck because I want a lot of plants, so... But obviously I don't want my animals to be like very unhappy, so, you know, it is what it is. But then, you know, for example, with the tortoises, that was already the case. Because I put so many plants in, I was like, yeah, they're not really going to be happy with this, so I'm just going to turn off the animal welfare, and then we'll see from that. I also felt like this gutter was like a quite unnecessary evil to make the building look more realistic. But that, you know what, that's just my humble opinion. So right now we are making sure that the shelter is actually fully up to date with also some hay where they can lay on and sleep. And while I do this on screen, like it's not really interesting for me to talk about that, I'm going to talk about something else for a minute. So I started uploading Planet Zoo like once a week now. I used to do 2 times a week when the Australia pack came out, but now I just do 1 time a week. If you want to see more Planet Zoo videos, let me know in the comments down below, because I have noticed that a lot of my Planet Zoo videos are doing really, really good. And my Sims videos aren't really doing that good, so if you guys want more Planet Zoo, let me know, I can work on that. If you guys are fine with just 1 Planet Zoo video a week, let me know as well. Just comment down below, 1 video, 2 video, just it's fine, and I'll see what I can do. Like maybe it would be better, it's gonna sound really weird, but maybe it would be better for my channel if I were to do 2 Planet Zoo videos a week and 1 Sims. I'm not sure. So just let me know what you guys want. If you don't care, that's fine as well. Then I'll just go do whatever I do now and I'll continue with that. Also, like I'm the queen of saying also, just so you know. Let me know if this video length is good, because I never really know how long I should make a video, because some videos I watch on YouTube of certain creators, I could watch like an hour or 2 hour video and it would be completely fine. And with other creators, I'm like, yeah, and you know, 10 minutes of you is more than enough. Then I'm actually done, because you kind of annoy me then. So hopefully I'm not that person to you. Hopefully I'm the person where you can listen to like hours and hours and hours. So this video of the Red Tail Zoo, they're all a bit longer. And I felt like for me, it worked quite good, because obviously I have a lot of things to show you guys. So longer videos are good for me. But if you think it's too long, let me know as well. Or maybe you feel like, well, you know, the cinematics are really long, I want less cinematics and more footage, or more cinematics and less footage. Let me all know, because then I can work on it and we can make it an enjoyable experience for you and for me, which I feel is actually quite nice. So yeah, give me feedback on that. I really love feedback. I really love to communicate with you guys as well. Like, some of my videos have a lot of comments, which I'm really happy about. Some of them don't, so I'm just gonna ask you guys, if you want to, comment down below. You know, it helps. And it's gonna sound really, I don't know how to say, like I'm begging, and I don't mean it like that. But when you guys like comment on my video, or like the video, or even subscribe to me, it helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps YouTube be like, oh, well, this video is well received, let's put it higher up in the list so more people can actually see my videos. And, you know, obviously that's what I want. So if you guys could help me with that, that'd be great. And I will be, you can have like my eternal gratitude. Seriously, I'm really grateful that there are even like people watching my channel. When I started this YouTube channel in April, I think it was, I had 1 subscriber, which was myself on my other YouTube account. Really sad, I know. And I never really imagined people watching me and subscribing to me. I really just wanted to learn how to video edit and do voiceovers. That's what I wanted to learn. And, you know, it's still a learning progress. So if you have any tips or advice, please reach out. I'm very eager to learn and I want to know how to do this YouTube thing correct. That sounds really weird, but I really want to do it correct. I'm really perfectionistic and I love doing things correctly. So if you have any tips, like tips or tricks, don't even really need to be big things. I mean, it can be big things, but it can also be like small things. Please let me know in the comments down below so I can make this experience better for everyone. God, I'm just a people pleaser, aren't I? Man. Anyhow, that was enough self-promotion for me. Okay, one more self-promotion. There are links to my social media also in the description down below. You can follow me there. Just click on say more or open the description when you're on mobile. And you will see a link to all my social media. Here you go, I have a Discord channel, a Twitter, and 2 Instagrams. Follow me on that, please. I always feel like this like airline supervisor or like commercial, you know, like, ooh, 3 out of 4 dentists approves when I promote myself. It feels really unnatural because I'm not that type of person. I mean, I love being in the center of things, but I don't really enjoy promoting myself because that feels quite unnatural. So here we are. We have this really ugly water thing. I do really dislike the look of it, so I just mask it in some rocks, and I think it actually looks really nice. And on the other side, we are gonna have it natural like that. But that's because we have the mud bed, so we want them to go into the mud bed and then walk out under the waterfall, and then they'd be like more clean. And I actually checked, but the visitors, they can look over the barriers, so they're the correct size. Thank goodness. Could you imagine if I had to adjust all the heights of the handmade barriers that are made? That would have been real pain. Like really annoying. So if you want some tips and tricks on this foliage, let me know in the comments down below. Like I could make a tutorial on that, on how to do good landscaping and terrain work as well. Do let me know if you're interested in that. If you're not, you know, it's completely fine. There are enough YouTubers that actually do that, but you know, I know quite a bit of landscaping, quite a landscaping girl myself, even if I say so myself. I love landscaping, I really, really do. So I thought it maybe could be fun if I made a tutorial, but obviously I want to be sure that people watch it because it's gonna take quite a while to make it. Ooh, we are ending up in the cinematics already. Guys, enjoy the cinematics, and I will hope to see you on the next video. Bye guys.